The Chiefs have a long way to go in their secondary, and this preseason hasn't worked out the way they want it. We're going to talk about what needs to happen right now. This is RGR Football, and I'm Ryan. I've gone completely rogue at this point, so welcome back to the show. If you're new here, check out the Twitter at Ryan Tracy NFL on Twitter, and you'll get even more information. Man, we got a long way to go about this secondary, and really at the top of the heap, it's that guy behind me that is really the only thing right now that can save them without making a kind of a major move. If you're new to the channel, click the subscribe and the little bell notification, and please leave a thumbs up if you like what you see today, as well as the comments. We have a great talk around here, so jump in and give us your opinion. Eric Berry is really the only thing left that can help this team, and it's very, very quiet on the Berry front. He's still dealing with the heel injury, and to this point, early in the last week here, as the Chiefs are getting ready to go to the regular season, there's still a lot of question marks. Steven Nelson has recently returned to practice, so that gives us a little bit more on the corner aspect because, good God, they had a little bit of trouble. David Amerson is unfortunately playing up, or down in this case, to my expectations when he was brought in, and that is that he is not a man corner. He hasn't been for quite some time. Maybe he can play the zone, and that's okay, but he's been dismantled back-to-back weeks by rookie receivers. And normally there's a steep learning curve for a rookie. And these guys, while they are athletic and they are, we're at the top of the college game, they shouldn't be able to run around a veteran like that. And so unfortunately, it's kind of problematic at this point to imagine that David Amerson can hold up as the Chiefs starter. Now, the staff, including Bob Sutton, will tell you, that he can play better and he has the ability, and they're not too worried. In the back of their heads, they have to be screaming that that's not the case. I thought Scandrick played all right to begin with, and bringing Orlando Scandrick in gives them an option at the corner position, but I don't think they should be done. Whether it's trade or rekindling that visit with Baushaud Breeland, there are some moves they can make in the secondary alone to kind of contain the cost at bringing in another corner that can play the boundary better, again, specifically can play man better. They have to look at that, and if they were to let Amerson go, they'll save a little bit of cap room they can put towards someone else. I don't know if that's the way they're leaning. Certainly if he's a fourth or lower option, then maybe that's worth it, but at this point, you have to look outside of that. Now, I want to know what you think and how you feel Dave Amerson in particular can do, or if you were just bolstered by the fact that Steven Nelson is back at practice out of the concussion protocol and ready to kind of ramp up for the regular season. Now, at the safety position, there's even more to talk about. So, Dan Sorensen's still on the roster. Don't know how prophetic his injury is going to be, or if we can expect him to be back in time to make an impact on this season. And if that's the case, they can consider looking at letting him go with an injury designation, which would include a settlement, which would kind of skew a little bit of the cap savings, but they can get a good chunk of money in the $4 million range back on the cap, which again goes towards shoring up one of those positions. Now, the safety free agent market is pretty dead at this point. I don't think there's anybody worth bringing in that can really do the job. Now, if they were wanting to make some scheme changes or flip the personnel around, they could move Eric Berry to the back of the defense if he is healthy. And that allows them to play with the underneath and kind of protect them a little bit with Eric over the top. He could probably help out the corners a little bit more than what we can see from Eric Murray and Liam McQuay, which is who they have starting right now. I don't know if that's really what they want to do or if they can afford to do that monetarily, but it does a couple of things. And it takes Eric Berry to where he can play, takes a little bit of contact off of him. Maybe that's a good thing. It does, in my opinion, not utilize him as well as we should, or they should. He is really best in that robber box role. He can certainly play free safety, don't get me wrong, but I don't think that's the best use of his talent. But again, it may be lighter on the tread and more injury prevention at that point. So what that allows you to do is shift somebody else over that can come and play in the box, and whether that's McQuay or another acquisition or a trade. Trades are a part of this scenario, and I think that's something that they should be looking at, whether it's now or week 2 or 3 or anywhere. And the other interesting thing is you could move Amerson to safety. He can play zone coverage pretty well. And whether that's in the back or as that second safety that's still towards the back but is flip-flopping out of the cover 2 kind of thing. Definitely not the third guy that's going to be like the Dorian O'Daniel role that's going to line up sometimes at nickel linebacker. Don't want Amerson in that situation. But little bit of play that they can do with the guys on the roster. Beyond that, the safety market is thin. The corner market is something they can look at, but it's at this point in the season, getting ready to go into the regular season games, it's problematic at best. So we'll hope that they can figure out what they want to do down the line and go from there. And there are a couple of things that Bob Sutton had to say, and here's from Bob.
Different scenarios. David has been here, for what seems like a long time now compared to some of the other guys, but Orlando just got here, so I think. David, I think he didn't play as well as he's capable of playing Saturday. He's still got, ability to do this thing and get it done. It's a lot of things, technique, good eyes, all that just has to keep going. And he's a player that's played enough snaps that he can make that improvement, get that back. And then from Orlando's standpoint, he's just learning the system. Now he's a veteran guy, and like I said, when we got him, he's played a lot of different systems. It's terminology and those little small adjustments that there's nothing you can do but keep playing. I mean, there's no way to get him past that without just keep playing and meet with him and keep doing that. It's not going to be knowledge as much as the verbiage and okay, this is how we're doing to this compared to this side you did it in Dallas when you got this kind of formation, and that to me is the big challenge for him. But I thought he did a good job. He competed. Obviously, they beat him on the one double move play there. But overall, I thought he did a really good job of just going in and competing and kind of getting his feet on the ground really.
Now that said, there's some rust on the inside linebackers at this point as they're getting ready to go in the regular season, but I think they're going to be all right. They're going to play themselves into shape, and I think the backups at inside linebacker are in good shape. We saw some spike out of Tanoh Kpassagnon, even though his sack was called back. It looked good, and it was against second team, third team maybe by that point, but it looks like there's still progression going on there for Tanoh Kpassagnon, that he can rotate in with D Ford and Justin Houston. And that will help them overall in terms of being able to keep the pass rushers fresh. As long as they can do that, they have a better chance of actually pressuring the quarterback, even if it's not sacks. If they can get hits and pressures and move quarterbacks off of their spot, that helps the secondary. And now it's a case of the front seven really has to protect the back end. And that's going to be the theme going in, especially against the Chargers with a veteran quarterback that can take care of the ball and can exploit what they give him. So look for pressure to be paramount, and that includes Chris Jones. That includes, honestly, I want to see what Nnadi can do in the A gaps. They're going to have to pressure out of the A gaps, and like I said last week, we saw some of that against the Bears. And if the linebackers can pressure the A gap and dogs and blitzes, that's going to help. Bob might have to get creative with some of the safeties as well. So all said, what they have to do is get pressure on the quarterback in order to protect the corners. Whether that's Scandrick or Amerson, I think that's just the way it's going to have to be for now. If they do make a move, I'll be back with reaction as soon as I know, and I'll tell you all about that from there. So please, put your comments down below about any of these guys or what you think they should do, including Bob. Make sure you hit that thumbs up. That helps me a ton. It helps other Chiefs fans find us. It helps other NFL fans find us and know what's going on with this team so that they have an inkling that's realistic rather than just Mahomes throwing bombs. But we'll get back to Mahomes next week, I'm sure. Thank you for watching today, and I'll talk to you next time.